Hey friends, it's Deanna here, and today we are going to be sewing along the new Be Active shorts, and I am really excited about these because my son loves wearing, he calls them home shorts. He loves wearing athletic shorts, and so I'm so glad we got this pattern. And a little while ago we made this half pipe tee for my son with a baseball. And so I figured I had some leftover fabric and so of the baseball fabric, so I figured I'd go ahead and add that. So that's gonna be really exciting. But before we get started, let me remind you about our fun fan giveaway that that's going on over on Ellie and Mac. And we're giving away a $50 gift certificate for one lucky subscriber a month. So if you go ahead and subscribe, comment below, and you will be entered to win our giveaway. So it's actually coming up time for me to pick a winner, and I will be picking a winner. So this could be you. Go ahead and comment below. Make sure you're subscribed, and you will be entered. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I already cut out all my pieces, and we're getting started. First thing we're gonna do is we are going to grab our pieces. So these are my backs, These are my backs. I already did it to the front, so you're gonna do it to all of the pieces. So I figured I'd go ahead and do it and show you with a couple of them, but you're gonna do it to all of them. So you grab your piece, your bottom piece, and this is my top piece, and we're gonna put it together now. The longer side will have the shorter bottom piece, and the shorter side, the other side will have the longer. So the side seam will have the longer side, and where over here where the crotch area is, we'll have the inseam will have the shorter side. So we're gonna place them right sides on top of each other. I know this doesn't look like it's gonna match, like what in the world am I doing? But we're just gonna put it straight up to it and pin. And so slightly, you're gonna be pulling slightly, just not pulling, kind of just twisting the fabric around slightly to make it to just go around. And you're not pulling. I'm not pulling. You're not doing any of that. You're just, I don't know why I put the word pull in there. You're not. You're just kind of moving it around, gathering it up here so that it goes ahead and it fits in there. Flushed the two sides. So that's what I'm doing all the way down. There is a little tab right there, but that is just so that we can all be flushed with the fabric. So flush it all the way to the fabric. And let me show you. See how it is just along the edge together. I'm gonna go ahead and sew that. Now, if it wasn't the right one, it would not match. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. And remember, the short area, see the inseam is gonna go, we're gonna do the short part with the inseam, and then see how it's higher over here is where the longer part is gonna go in there. So we'll start right here, and we're just putting it flush to the edge, right sides together. And again, I already did this with my backs, so now I'm just doing it with the fronts. And what I did is I just kept them separate, that way I could remember what they were. Going all the way around. I am excited. I can't wait to see what you guys are making with these, what they look like and all. Remember, you don't have to stretch out, you don't have to pull, you just pin it to fit. You don't want to pull too much, because if you start pulling, then you might have wrinkles. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and sew that together. So I'm just sewing that edge, and I'm using a serger, but you can use, if you have a serger, obviously you can use a serger, but if you don't have a serger, you can use stretch stitch on your sewing machine. And we're just sewing those raw edges together. When you're sewing, if you have to pull a little bit, both of them a little bit, just to get them straight, you can do that. But you don't have to pull one tighter than the other, and put it together as we come around the curve. There is one. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. I'm done doing this, you can go ahead and top stitch them, and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do it with my cover stitch. You can do a double needle or a zigzag stitch. If you don't want to, you don't have to top stitch them, but when it's something sporty, I kind of like the look of the top stitch. That's why I don't really top stitch a whole lot of things, but something sporty I do like to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it wrong side up. Then I'm going to grab my iron and give it a good steam on that crease. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. Give it a good steam. And then I'm going to top stitch it with my cover stitch. So let me go ahead and do that. Top stitching, and then we'll move on. Alright, so I top stitched it all the way around. And now we're going to grab a front panel and a back panel, and we'll put it right on top of each other. How do we know if it's a front and a back? The front will be shorter than the back, so there'll be a difference between the two So it'll be one longer, one shorter, but they'll match up on this side. So they'll match up on the side and on the inseam, but they won't match up right here, okay? So that's how you know you got a front and a back. You don't want to put two backs and two fronts together. So make sure you don't do that. I've done that before. So we're going to go ahead and sew along the edge. The outside edge. Now that we've sewn around the outside edge, we're gonna go ahead and grab the and repeat on the other leg. So now this will be one leg and that will be the other leg. Now we're gonna open it up and I'm gonna put right sides together. The one leg and the other leg. Right sides together, and we're going to sew at the crotch. This area right here that circles up. And like I said, everything right here should match up. That's the front. That's the back. This is the front. I know because this is a little bit shorter right here. So we're going to sew along these raw edge right here and right here. Right here. These are really easy. And really fun. With cotton lycra, and I want to make some more for him with some athletic knit when I get some. So now we're going to open it up, still right sides together, and we're going to close the inseam right here. We're going to match up those edges, and we're going to match up where those seams. So middle seam, crotch seam, and then where the pant seams are. And we're going to sew all the way down and up the bottom. And the shorts are pretty much done. The only thing that we need to do is hem them and do the waistband. Look at how cute they're gonna be. Ooh, these are gonna be cool. He's gonna love them. So I'll hem them, but I'm gonna go ahead and do the waistband now. So I got my waistband right here, and we're gonna put it right sides together and meet them at the raw edge, the short raw edge up here, and we're gonna sew them together. Now we're going to open it, and we're going to fold it wrong sides together, like a taco. So we'll meet those seams wrong sides together, cut this thread, and all the way around. Ugh. That seam right there, I put the pin on not very nicely. There we are. Go all the way around. And right now, I took the pin off because it's annoying me. Right now, you might want to use some steam to like steam it down together. Sometimes it tends to try to move and it's really aggravating. And yes, I keep licking my fingers. Sorry. Sometimes I do that. I need to get, and I know I've said this, if you watch my videos, I've said a million times. I need to get some of that stuff that you put in your fingers, like the gel stuff that you touch and you, but I haven't. Okay, so now, there it is, fold it all the way. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna find out, we're gonna put 2 inches, we're gonna measure about 2 inches where we're not going to sew. Because when we make this, close these up, we wanna leave a gap where we can fit our elastic. So let me say, I'm gonna do 2 inches and I'm gonna do them right off the seam. So I'm just kind of marking where my 2 inches are. So that way I'll start there and go all the way around and come back to leave like a gap. So I can leave that 2-inch gap. You see my pins right there? Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do is from the top of the waistband, we're gonna measure 1/2 inch. And we're going to sew a gap. So we're gonna sew a what is the correct word? Oh, my laptop went silent. What is the correct word? Casing. And I couldn't remember the casing. Yes, we're gonna do the casing, and we're gonna make 3 lines, and they're 1/2 inch apart each. So what we're gonna do is measure 1/2 inch from the top, and we're gonna start with the first one. Remember to have those 2 inches, and you can do a longer straight stitch. Advised to make a longer straight stitch, and you can see where your 1/2 inch. What I do is I look at my machine and I see where my 1/2 inch is. Sometimes what I'll do is if it's like not somewhere where there's a mark right here, when it gets longer, you know, when I'm going this way to 1/2 inch, I'll mark on my sewing machine with like a erasable marker or something like that where my fabric's supposed to stay, and then it keeps it easier. So I'm gonna do just a straight stitch, but I'm gonna adjust it and make the length a little bit longer than the usual, so it'd be not too tight. And I'm just going all the way around, but I'm making sure that I leave that 2-inch gap where I'm gonna put my elastic. That's where I'm gonna feed my elastic through when we get ready to put the elastic in. All right, so there was one. Now I'm gonna measure 1/2 inch from that same one we just made, 1/2 inch down. And I'm gonna mark it. And I'm gonna make sure my sewing machine where that's gonna end up at. And it's gonna be like right there. And I don't have a marker, so let me see if I have I don't want to do anything permanent. I'm going to use a pencil. So I'm going to make a line on my sewing machine, just a little pencil line that I can erase, and to say, okay, that's where my fabric is going to stay for 1/2 inch, 1 inch to 1/2 inch. And I'm going again. I know there's easier ways to do this. I mean, different ways to do it. I know there's probably specifics. However you do it, let me know what you do to mark the spot. But hey, this works, so that's what I'm doing. Another 1/2 inch, so this will be our third 1/2 inch, and we're doing the same thing. The pin. Now we're gonna mark where it is. Where my fabric is supposed to stay. And we go. so now I've got my 3 casings. At this point, if you want, you can go ahead and attach the waistband on to your shorts and leaving leaving that gap open to feed in the elastic. It's up to you if you want to attach it first, so that it's not all wrinkly from the elastic. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the elastic in first, and then I'm gonna attach it, which means I'm gonna have to be pulling it a little bit as I'm attaching it. So it really is up to you what you want to do first. I'm wondering what I want to do. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna quarter it. So I'm gonna mark my quarters right here. Front, this is my seam, and the front there's a quarter. And I'm gonna mark the two fronts and then the sides, and here's my 1/4, and here's my other one. And I just make a tiny little notch. And you know why I did that? Because then when it's wrinkled up, I can match up the quarters with the quarter points of my pants, my front, my back, and my sides, and I'm good to go. So that's what I'm doing. Now I'm gonna feed the elastic, all of the different elastics, there's 3 of them, through each casing that we made. So here's my first one, and I'm going all the way around, feeding this elastic, and I'm just using a safety pin to go all the way around. Make sure when you're feeding that elastic that you keep it straight, so you don't have like a crooked turned elastic. You know how it kind of turns sideways. I mean, it's okay if it does, but it's better if it doesn't. And we're going all the way around, all the way back up to that spot where we went in. And if you're afraid that your elastic is gonna get eaten, like it's gonna come in, you can always put a little bit, you can pin it at the front. But I didn't, and it was fine. Oh, shoot. My pin came open. But I have a tool somewhere. Oh. I did. I don't know where I put it. That would help me. But I don't know where I put it. So I'm like kind of stuck because I'm trying to remember where it is. I might have to pull it all the way out. I have a tool somewhere. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and probably redo that one, but let's do the next one and see if this one does it right. All right, it has to do with the fact that I have a tiny little safety pin, and somebody told me before, you need to get one of the big ones. I do, but usually I have my other tool, my I don't even know where it is. And it's like a little straight tool, and it just pulls it. But I don't know where I put it. It's usually in my drawer down here, but it's not today. I must have put it somewhere else. Anyway, so now I'm gonna do this one and see if I can show you. If it happens again, then I'll have to pause it and come back. But I'm just gonna do this one real quick, because I can just overlap them since they're I'm not sewing them together yet. I mean, I'm gonna sew them together, but I'm not gonna sew them together. All right, I'm coming. Hopefully it won't come off at the last minute like the other one did. That was annoying. I might have to redo it. Does that happen to you? You're getting to the end and you're like, oh, it's almost there, and then look at this. You know what this looks like? This looks like an awesome scrunchie. If you're making scrunchies, here we go. This is how you do it. All right, so now I've got my elastic right here, and make sure that it's the right one. This one is the top one, this one is the top one, the second line, the second line. We're gonna overlap them right here, and we're gonna sew them together. I use a zigzag stitch to sew them together, and I just go back and forth, back and forth. And I just wanted to show you that. See, I just went back and forth with my zigzag stitch, and then I put it back in, let it go back in, okay? And I'm doing the same thing to all 3 of them, okay? So one up here, and one down here. Let me go ahead and do it, and then we'll finish it up. All right, so now that they're all gathered in together, Now we're gonna go back over where we had those that 2-inch gap right there. I just was trimming the edges, and we're gonna go ahead and close them up. So you're gonna stretch a little bit and sew that again with a straight stitch like you did earlier, but just straight. Okay, so you're just sewing those gaps shut. So we're doing it to all 3 of them. That was 1, 2. Make sure you go back and forth at the beginning. That way your thread doesn't come undone. At the beginning and at the end. My sewing machine does this little knot thingy on there, but if it doesn't, then you want to go back and forth. And now I'm trimming all the little threads. I always want to call them hairs. They're not hairs, they're thread. Okay, now we attach the waistband to our shorts. Okay. So we're attaching the waistband to our shorts. Now my waistband is smaller because my son is waist is smaller, so I did a smaller waistband. But so we're gonna do is match up the back to the back of your shorts. How do we know it's the back? Because it's the higher rise. And so I'm matching up that back first. Now, this is where it comes in handy, where I did the little notch for the side, because here's my one side. And now I'm gonna find the other notch, and that will be for the front. Here it is. And this is why you need a fabric with good stretch, so that way you can stretch it out when you're putting the waistband on. And like I said, and I'm finding the other one, the last one right here. Like I said, if it'll be easier for you, you could attach it first and then feed in the elastic. And if you're gonna do that though, you gotta leave the gap as well for this, for the band. You can't close it all the way up because then you can't feed the elastic. But what you're doing is you're gonna be stretching the band and you're gonna sew along that edge. We can do it. Let's do it. So I just give it a little start, and then I go to the next, to my quarter, and I pull and make sure that they match up, the raw edges. And then I kind of like when you're doing a neckband. It's kind of like when you're doing a neckband and you want them all to match up. So that's what we're doing. Grabbing the next spot, pulling, making sure it all matches up at the raw edge. Next intersection, pulling, making sure it matches up at the raw edge, so that you're grabbing all 3 layers. And then the last one, pull, matching up at the raw edge. Making sure you're grabbing all 3 layers, nothing more, nothing less. And that is it. Here we are. Our shorts are done. Now I'm going to give it a good steam right here at the seam. You can top stitch that seam if you'd like, just, for looks, or you want to top stitch it right there. And that is it. All I gotta do now is hem them. And my shorts are done. Look how cool they look. I love them. Look, my shorts. Not my shorts, his shorts. And his top. He's gonna love this outfit. I love it. And so for hem, all we do is you do 1/2 inch. So we fold 1/2 inch up, and I don't usually measure, I'm bad, but if you want to measure 1/2 inch from the raw edge, because this is knit fabric, you don't need to do a double hem, you just do 1/2 inch, and that is it. You can use a double needle, you can use stretch stitch, you can use a cover stitch, which I'll be using a cover stitch. for this step as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hem them and give them to my son. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed this sew along. Please let me know if you have any questions. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, comment, like, share, so you can be entered to our giveaway that will be happening just in a little bit, in a couple of days. And I hope that you enjoyed the sew along. If you're not part of our Facebook page or Instagram account, our Instagram page, please come and join us. We'd like to see what you're making, and we'd like you to get inspired by what other people are sewing as well. So our links are below. If you have any questions of any of the patterns or anything like that, please comment, and I'll talk to you guys next time. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!